the big news of this week is going to come out on Friday, and it's going to be the November PPI. That is the measure of inflation that the Fed looks at as they're making decisions about the rate hike, that decision that we're going to get out in just a week. So that's going to be an important number. And PPI measures price changes before consumers purchase final goods. So the CPI number that we hear about, that's the real inflation number that everybody focuses on, is based on what consumers pay for a basket of goods and services. The PPI is going to be a little bit predictive of what CPI is going to be, because if you think about the supply chain and how goods and services get from their origination point to the end point, which is the consumer, a lot of times in manufacturing, there's goods, there's commodities, there's things that are purchased to make that final good. So if the cost of those goods is higher and not moderating, then that is going to be passed on to the consumer and show up in the CPI until the point that consumers are no longer willing to pay that price. Then one of two things is going to happen. Margins are going to shrink for companies, and that's going to trickle down its way into the market as the valuation of those companies. A good value of a company is their success in business, and profit margins is a big part in that. So, since the higher prices tend to get passed on to the consumer, we'll be looking at the numbers as they come out on Friday to see what's happening there, if inflation is indeed moderating like so many suspect. So the ISM came out on Monday. I didn't get a chance to mention it yet. We've had a lot of activity, so that's been a good thing. But all of this data came out a little bit stronger than expected, meaning that the economy is holding up better than the demand destruction that the Fed is trying to create. So all of this has stoked fears. We saw the market react really positively last week to Fed Chairman Powell's speech that he gave last week, but now they're starting to slip a little bit. The worries are starting to come in that maybe the Fed won't actually deliver those smaller rate hikes as soon as December, as was talked about in the Fed speech last week.